The following program is brought to you by Pizza Productions.
And last but not least, this guy. The Game. 14-time world champion. This man has single-handedly changed this business. He runs this business. This man is this business. 14-time world champion. There is nothing that this man hasn't done in this business except beat me.
Oh shit, welcome guys to an all new episode of the Totally Necessary Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Porter, guys. We are here to cover the week that was professional wrestling, and we might as well just jump right into the controversy surrounding this last week of WWE television, and that being the elephant in the room, WWE Crown Jewel, which is taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, which you wouldn't know it was taking place in Saudi Arabia based on WWE television this last week here. Basically no mention of Saudi Arabia along any broadcast of WWE this week here, which this is all surrounding the disappearance of the journalist from the Washington Post that possibly the Saudi Arabian royal family may or may not have had anything to do with. So, not to call out our own people over here within the United States, but it's not like those guys don't have blood on their hands already. So, here we are, a bunch of fucking billionaires battling it out. Which ultimately, do any of us care? Does it really ultimately involve any of us? No, not really. We're going to go about our daily lives. But here we are. WWE's getting hella criticized from, the mainstream press in regards to holding the show, which again, they already have a fucking contract in place for 10 years worth of shows. So it's not like, there's probably something they can do, because it seems like in today's day and age, a contract doesn't really mean fucking shit. So these people are just going to be, they're going to do what they're going to fucking do. So it's like really the bitching and the moaning over this. It's, people taking the fucking high road. Like, oh, fucking WWE, fucking moral standards, da-da-da-da-da. That's a fucking $1 billion company, dude. This is the Disney, this is Walt Disney of professional wrestling, dude. These guys are going to do it for the fucking money. You keep hearing all these wrestlers talk about how, like, they're just throwing money. I mean, Shawn Michaels is coming out of fucking retirement for this motherfucking thing, guys. Imagine the amount of money that WWE is just making off this. The fucking, geez, like, damn, dude, I'm not going to be surprised if fucking Bullet Club shows up in fucking WWE, dude. Because you got to think about, man, if they're pulling Shawn Michaels out of retirement, for certain as fuck they could decide the full fucking Bullet Club, dude. We'll wait and see. We'll definitely wait and see in regards to that there. But let's go ahead and just kick off Monday Night Raw, guys. Monday Night Raw took place in Philadelphia. We kicked the show off with Seth Rollins taking on Drew McIntyre in a WWE World Cup qualifier. Technically speaking, we kicked it off with the Dogs of War coming down and addressing the WWE universe and whatnot, drawing the Shield, or at least 2/3 of the Shield coming out with Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. A bunch of shit talking here. Again, here we are, a good couple months into this feud. Again, I've said earlier podcasts that I've definitely have enjoyed seeing Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, and Braun Strowman paired together. But yeah, I think we're at that point now where we just need to kind of move on to bigger and better things. And I think obviously with this Crown Jewel situation, coming up with Braun Strowman taking on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. We're definitely getting towards the end of whatever alliance has been set up here between McIntyre, Ziggler, and Strowman. So, not even getting to the main event just yet here, but, definitely, shit's about to hit the fan, it feels like. So, ultimately, though, we saw Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre square off for the WWE World Cup qualifier, which there were two of those matches here tonight, the other being Dean Ambrose taking out Dolph Ziggler, which would take place later in the night. Ultimately, though, speaking of Dean Ambrose, after walking out on the Shield the week prior, basically they said, "Oh, Dean's on Dean time," so Dean's just gonna do whatever the fuck he wants here. So Dean Ambrose ultimately shows up during the Seth Rollins Drew McIntyre match to counter the interference from Dolph Ziggler, who had ultimately came down, trying to distract Seth Rollins and trying to cost him the match here. I think the right guy won here. I think it had the right amount of shenanigans to make sure Drew McIntyre doesn't look like a little bitch fucking losing to Seth Rollins 1, 2, 3. We got the count out victory here. Dude, I thought it was a fun match. Again, I'm ready to kind of move on in regards to, we've seen these pairings here solidly for the last several months here, but nonetheless, solid match here, guys. Again, I'm glad to see that Seth Rollins is moving on to this WWE World Cup, which I've already last week established that I'm definitely looking forward to this. Again, going back to the King of the Ring tournaments back in the 90s, man, I was a big fan as a kid. So being able to see the finalization of this tournament this week was definitely something I was looking forward to in regards to WWE TV this week, was seeing who was going to finalize this tournament here, which we ultimately saw Drew McIntyre succumb to Seth Rollins. Thus, Seth Rollins has qualified for WWE World Cup. We saw the Brothers of Destruction promise to make D-Generation X suck their own dicks, apparently, or just rest in peace. I don't know. I thought the video looked really fucking cool. I don't know when exactly they shot this here. I would assume probably maybe in Australia, because it seems like this has just been a game planned out for months at this point. So to think that they'd get get that promo done back a couple weeks ago and just airing it now, I mean, that would be smart. I would assume utilize your time, WWE. So nonetheless, here we see Undertaker and Kane, making their routine appearance on Raw, building up that tag match of DX versus the Brothers of Destruction here, which again, I guess I'm looking forward to it. I mean, again, I don't know I don't know if I'm like super, super excited. Like, I'm probably more excited for that AJ Styles Daniel Bryan match. I'm more excited for that in terms of a wrestling perspective. I'm not necessarily thinking that this is going to be the greatest fucking thing in the world. And considering everybody shat upon the match in Australia, which again, me personally, I watched that. I was high fucking on cannabis, legal cannabis here in Washington State. And yeah, man. I enjoyed it. I thought it with a good pairing WWE with a good indica can actually result in a somewhat of enjoyable an experience in regards to being entertained by this shit. So ultimately, yeah, we're moving towards that match in just a couple weeks, guys. In a spot that was not included on the Hulu version. I was trying to think of something witty, be like, oh shit, we got a segment, now, because we only watch it from the Hulu perspective, which is, again, anybody out there that's watching WWE, man, if you're able to get by on watching the Hulu version, I highly recommend it. And if you got the no commercial Hulu, dude, fucking even better. Then you don't even gotta watch it with commercials and shit, dude. But Nia Jax and Ember Moon took on Tamina and Dana Brooke. This was somewhat exciting, I suppose, as Tamina is back. I suppose this is her first time being on WWE television in quite some time, and good to know that she was cut out on the Hulu version. We saw Jackson Moon defeat Tamina and Brooke via pinfall. They announced earlier this week, I guess, that they're gonna have some sort of fucking women's battle royal for a future title shot at one of the two titles or whatever. And again, I'm not surprised that they would announce something like that, considering they're just trying to get as many women on there as possible. So apparently, I would assume all 4 of these women are going to be involved in that said match there. So looking forward to that at Evolution. Shit, fucking A. Promoting 2 pay-per-views here, guys. So we saw Ronda Rousey basically drop some fucking shit on the Bella Twins this week here. You could tell Ronda Rousey was a little bit overly scripted regarding some of the content she was dropping, some of the verbiage she was dropping there. Ultimately, I enjoyed it. I thought the lines of getting at the Bella Twins, leeching off John Cena and Daniel Bryan. I like that shit. I've heard the comment earlier this week, about you kind of regressing back to, oh, well, this is just kind of, it was a little too easy, I guess, in regards to it. It's like we've seen that, we're not making progress. We're regressing in regards to the women's evolution and all that good stuff, which I get. I get the argument, but ultimately, I think it's too easy because, again, with what the Bellas are supposed to be representing here, they're supposed to be representing that bitchy fucking I'm a fucking Kim Kardashian motherfucking diva. And who fucking likes those stupid bitches? No one likes fucking the Kardashians. No one likes fucking a bunch of fucking rich, uppity fucking, dumb bitches there. So, fucking A. No one likes them. So, yeah, Ronda Rousey fucking calling them out. It's basically like, I'm going to whoop your fucking ass. And she fucking took out all those fucking security guards, which is the very last one. That dude's expression, man, that was a great part of Monday Night Raw. Definitely one of the highlights in regards to this past Monday here. But ultimately, we're building up for the Ronda Rousey Nikki Bella match at Evolution. So I'm solidly enjoying Ronda Rousey as a character on Monday Night Raw every week. I mean, again, she needs the rep, dude. She needs the time in the ring. She needs time on the mic. She's gonna grow through this. She's gonna be a better performer a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, depending on how long she does this. Shit, dude. She's only my age. I think she's only 32, 33 or some shit. So, she's definitely hitting her stride regarding, I would say getting up into that prime level. And as quick as she has taken so far, I totally can see her, succeeding in WWE for years to come. So ultimately we saw Dean Ambrose, in the back, basically talking shit to Seth Rollins. Again, teasing dissension between the Shield and whatnot, which is, it's better than them just being like, "Yep, we're all good, man." I like seeing at least some sort of story being told here. So again, I'm not gonna shit all over that or anything. I've got the wait and see approach in regards to where this plays out and whatnot. So we saw ultimately though Ziggler defeat Ambrose to advance into the WWE World Cup, which I kind of figured that would happen. You're gonna have Rollins win. You're not gonna have 2 guys from the Shield within the. I guess they could have, but. To play up this whole story of Dean Ambrose, he's kind of on a losing streak or whatever. So, just, he's not on top of his game, which you'd think after, so many months off, you'd probably come back, more focused than ever. But apparently that's not the case here with Dean Ambrose. So ultimately we saw some more tension with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Ultimately, though, it was announced by fucking Baron Corbin, which great not seeing a lot of Baron Corbin this week. We dealt with him, but you didn't see him as prominently as we have in weeks past, and I'm gonna give that a thumbs up. Okay, but ultimately he made a rematch for him last week and the Australian show, so the third time in less than 2 weeks that we're seeing this same match of Dogs of War taking on the Shield. That was announced as your main event for later on the evening, which, the last 2 matches were good, so hopefully this one would be just as good, if not, on par at least. Which would be the same as just as good. I get that. I totally, guys. It's been a week, man. It's been a week. guys. So I'm like, this is a Thursday at 8:30. I'm recording this shit. Like, I was like putting this off all fucking day. I was like, fuck. I didn't watch NXT until like fucking probably like 2 hours ago. So we're getting through this, guys. We're just hey man, that's just how you fucking record podcasts sometimes, guys. Sometimes you just like to take your time and smoke some weed. I had to eat dinner. It was delicious. Yeah. Fuck yeah, guys. So in another segment that I have not seen anything in regards to this feud. This feud is nothing I have actually seen outside of seeing it on the Bleacher Report every time we fucking report this damn fucking episode, this podcast here. But we saw Finn Balor with Bayley taking on Jinder Mahal with Alicia Fox and the Singh brothers. So good to know that the Singh brothers are back together and whatnot. So I don't know, man. Afterwards, we saw Bobby Lashley. He basically shat all over Balor's celebration because Balor, for the millionth time, defeated Mahal. Him and Leo Rush mocked fucking Finn Balor and whatnot. And this is just, yeah, I mean, like, again, we're seeing the same shit week in, week out. I understand why they're not putting this on the Hulu version because there's no point to it. I mean, like, this is just all filler bullshit. And it sucks for that being Finn Balor, but I guess, he's probably getting paid a lot of fucking money to do this. So it's like, what does he? I bet if you ask Finn Balor, are you creatively stifled working within the WWE? He'll probably tell you, yeah, it's not the most rewarding work, but dude, just like any one of us out there, we do a job to make money. So, I mean, shit, dude, if you're able to make a good living, doing what you do, I mean, you may not always be doing exactly what you want, but you're still making a good living. So, I mean, good for him on that end. But for us here, like consuming wrestling and wanting to see the best of the best, it sucks to see Finn Balor, pulling mixed match duty with Bayley, but here we are, dude. That's our 2018 Finn Balor and Bayley pairing on Monday Night Raw. So against former WWE champion Jinder Mahal. Jeez, if fucking ask me that back in 2014, do you think Jinder Mahal will win the WWE championship? Like, Jinder who? Fucking barely even on my radar. Yeah. Even though I remember when he was released from WWE, I remember seeing him advertised for local shows up here in the Pacific Northwest. Not a lot. There was like one show I saw some flyer for. This was back, yeah, like I guess would have been like 2015 or some shit like that. I don't know, sometime back then. So then we saw Bobby Lashley taking out Tyler Breeze. Again, more shit I'm not fucking seeing because apparently fucking just nobody gives a shit. So 1 week Lashley's on there, next week Lashley's not, which I guess again isn't necessarily a bad thing when you talk about it being a bloated roster. But again, it's not like they're being kept off TV just to be kept off TV. No, they're being cut from. They were on TV, but they're being cut from a specific version just because what they did on that said TV show didn't really matter and doesn't really prove shit. Which Fandango apparently is going to be coming back here soon. So good to see Fandango back, hopefully. I'm a fucking big fan of that guy, dude. So I wish nothing but the best to both him and Tyler Breeze. But in this case here, Bobby Lashley gets the win. We saw Alexa Bliss and Mickie James talk shit with Trish and Lita. I don't know, man. Again, Trish showing her fucking Canadian side on this shit. She was all fucking... She didn't really say a lot. And fucking Lita did most of the talking here. Again, it kind of sucks that we're forced to see this as a tag match. I was much more interested in this situation as a singles, which not necessarily saying I was interested in the Mickie James fucking Lita portion, but I was still interested in at least seeing Alexa Bliss and fucking Trish Stratus take on. I thought that's, it's like your Rock Cena type situation, or Hogan fucking Cena with, the current star versus the old star. And I thought that's fucking badass, that's going to be fucking cool. And nope, we're condensing it down because again, like, I don't know, whatever. I'm not booking this shit. So, Alexa Bliss is fucking great, dude. She is a fucking star, dude. She's a fucking star, man. And I've been fucking paying attention to her back when she was fucking managing Blake and fucking Murphy. Like, what I remember watching NXT when she first started managing them. She first started appearing on NXT, dude. It's just to see where she's come now. It's just like, fuck yeah, dude. You know, you give her the 2 thumbs up, man. 2 thumbs up to Alexa Bliss. So, you know, we'll see what happens. I think Trish and Lita will ultimately take the win. But, you know, we'll see what happens here. Well, I guess we're down to the last fucking Monday before that pay-per-view this coming Monday here. So, oh man, guys, yeah, that's indeed. Maybe that's telling me something. Maybe all this shit's putting me to sleep. I don't know. We saw the Authors of Pain taking on the Conquistador, which is another rare sighting of Baron Corbin this last Monday, was setting up Kurt Angle going out to take on the Authors of Pain in a handicap match, which ultimately, it wasn't fucking Kurt Angle that was dressed up as a Conquistador. It was obviously fucking a decoy, and then freaking and then Kurt Angle was able to angle slam Baron Corbin, which again, are we going to see that match someday down the road? Maybe, I don't know. I guess I'm okay with seeing a Kurt Angle Baron Corbin match. Kurt Angle dressed, you know, the announcer is making fun of Kurt Angle, saying he's dressed up like Hunter S. Thompson and shit. Just, you know, yeah, I would think more Bray Wyatt. You know, I really kind of think with the Hawaiian shirt and the hat that's would have been a little bit more appropriate. But yeah, where is Bray Wyatt, guys? I don't even know, man. Haven't seen him in a good couple months ever since freaking Matt Hardy retired. I mean, I guess that's good. I mean, keep him off. If you got nothing good for him, I mean, you might as well fucking wait. Wait at least until you get something good. But yeah, Authors of Pain defeated the Conquistador, which led to Kurt Angle fucking Angle slamming fucking Baron Corbin into the fucking ground. We saw Natalya taking on Ruby Riott. Another thing I didn't. Oh, maybe did I say this? No, I don't know if this one was on Hulu. I don't remember. I don't think it was. But it's apparently that's setting up something for Evolution there, because apparently Sasha Banks is back now, and so we're gonna probably see Bayley and Sasha Banks teaming up with Natalya, or Natalya teaming up with Sasha Banks. I don't fucking know. I don't really care, guys. Honestly, like, they're, you know, kind of going through this whole review of Raw. It's just like, not to say it was like a bad episode, but man, there's just so much. And you know, when you're really tired and you're having to like go through all this again, and it's just like, fuck, dude. Fuck, like half this shit wasn't even on the fucking show. Just like this shit, Apollo Crews. Apparently he's going to get somewhat of a push here, as he interrupted Elias during his, you know, normal weekly routine that we are growing accustomed to seeing every single week. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, that's what we're going to see. Apollo Crews taking on Elias. Again, I'm not really... Nothing taken away from Apollo Crews in terms of, you know, he's a good fucking wrestler, but damn, that fucking personality sure ain't fucking shining these days, guys. So hopefully, you know, over the, you know, 100th time, we're going to see something flourish from Apollo Crews, man. And I apologize to anybody that's listening right now. I am trying to gain enthusiasm for Apollo Crews. I am trying to say something interesting about Apollo Crews, but jeez, man, on a Thursday night when you're like, man, my bed is fucking calling me right now. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have a little bit of a fucking hard time getting all enthusiastic about the fucking Drifter and fucking Apollo Crews on Monday Night Raw. So we saw our main event of The Shield taking on Dogs of War, Braun Strowman and Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, man. This match was definitely probably the least, the not necessarily say it was the worst, but it was definitely not, you know, out of all three, the trilogy at this point. You know, we saw the Shield get the win over Dogs of War here, which ultimately the ending, though, did serve to set up the story going forward here, which is Drew McIntyre apparently is going to be getting a pretty good push the rest of this year. It seems like he would be your next guy to go to in regards to a Universal title shot, at least some sort of feud with Roman Reigns. Not saying that they're going to give the title to him, but you know, shit, man, they gave the title to Sheamus here a couple of years ago around the same time frame, so I wouldn't mind seeing Drew McIntyre take that Universal Championship off fucking Roman, you know, here sometime soon. So we saw him ultimately kick the shit out of Braun Strowman, so I don't know who, I would assume Braun Strowman would turn back face, which again, it's like, why did he go heel in the fucking first place? oh yeah, because fucking, Roman Reigns is supposed to be a fucking good guy, so he always has to have a fucking, I don't fucking know. Again, getting in a long-term booking with WWE, it's fucking, I'm pretty sure for the most part, they really, outside of, if your DX fucking Brothers of Destruction feud, they're not really planning that fucking far in advance. So here we are, guys. Monday Night Raw ending with Drew McIntyre fucking basically just telling Braun Strowman, I ain't taking your fucking shit no more. And here we go. So I'm at least looking forward to the progression of that story with Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman, and which, again, I guess we're 2 weeks out as of today for, this being Friday, released on a Friday for the majority of you listeners. 2 weeks to the day till this Crown Jewel event, so it'll be a week away as of next week. So we'll see what goes down, guys. We'll see what goes down this next week on Monday Night Raw. So we moved on to Smackdown this past Tuesday, which we celebrated 1,000 fucking episodes of Smackdown, guys. Like, holy fucking shit, man. I was pretty fucking excited for this shit, man. I'm not gonna fucking lie. I was pretty fucking excited. Sometimes we just gotta break and we gotta hit the fucking that legal Washington State cannabis, And kudos to Canada. Kudos to Canada. Marijuana is legal all across Canada and the entire west coast of the United States. So that's pretty fucking cool, man. It's no different than if I was like, oh man, I'm sitting here enjoying an adult beverage. No, I'm enjoying water and a nice sativa. Actually, this is it's headband. Yeah, it's a nice sativa. This is where I'm getting my enthusiasm from, guys. This is where I'm drawing the power right now is from that fucking sativa. Fucking sativa, guys. So we kicked off the 1,000th episode of SmackDown with Truth TV, which you knew, again, they were going to bring this back. They had to bring this back. It was such a hit that, of course, we're going to get R-Truth and Carmella back in the ring for another episode here. Ultimately, we saw Stephanie McMahon come down as the guest. I don't know. It's cool to see Stephanie on SmackDown. Again, we're celebrating SmackDown, her being the very first general manager of SmackDown. So I felt that was an appropriate guest to bring down. Ultimately, again, we saw Shane McMahon then return because, again, he's current, he's not the general manager, but he's like whatever fucking commissioner or some whatever fucking shit you want to say in regards to his role on WWE television these days, which isn't much. But again, we got the special appearance. Then ultimately, this led fucking Vince McMahon for coming down, which it kind of felt like this was like the same type of situation we got into this past January with the 25th Raw by just, throwing the McMahons out there at the very beginning of the show. And again, not to shit all over it, but I mean, we got the dance break, which again, is funny, but I mean, was I 100% entertained through it? I mean, I guess, I mean, it's not like it really set up anything for, long-term story, which I guess, should it? No, it shouldn't. It was a nice little one-off, and I mean, shit, dude, I mean, it's Truth TV, man, fucking A. I know Vince McMahon and Truth are, like, apparently friends of some sort. They're apparently, you see pictures and, you hear those shoot interviews, brother. You get on those shoot interviews on YouTube. You hear people say, R-Truth and Vince McMahon are close buddies, so that's cool. That's fucking cool, So, yeah, so we saw them ultimately break down. And you see them do that, like, that stupid fucking, they're doing that, like, floss dance or whatever, right? From that fucking game. I don't even know that game. Like, I've seen one person, I can't even think of the fucking name right now. Yeah, it's like Battle, I'm so fucking high. Maybe you shouldn't have fucking smoked that fucking weed, Kevin. A fucking Fortnite, okay? Luckily, I have the internet turned on, so... yeah, it's the fucking, that stupid fucking Fortnite game, dude. But I think that dance is kind of funny, though. I do kind of think that dance is funny. So we saw AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan taking on the Usos. It's nice to see the Usos are back and did get a win, ultimately, as Daniel Bryan was pinned against the by the Uso brothers. The Uso brothers, huh? I don't know. It's again great to see him back on TV. We're still moving forward with the Styles and Daniel Bryan match, at Crown Jewel. Good to see that the fucking Miz was not involved. I was a little worried as of last week that the Miz would become involved here. But we saw dissension teased between Daniel Bryan and Styles, so I assume that's going to keep building. And hopefully we'll get a good match at Crown Jewel, guys. With the one thing that I was looking forward to this last Tuesday was the return of Evolution, specifically one Dave Bautista, man. Being a longtime fan of Dave Bautista going back to, the Evolution days, I thought his feud with Triple H back in 2005 was definitely a very bright spot in regards to professional wrestling that year. Disagree or agree, I thought their series of matches ultimately ending in that Hell in a Cell match was fucking awesome. And this was, this was just a throwback, Again, I heard complaints about Randy Orton. He wasn't necessarily staying true to the character that he's portraying now, which, yeah, true. But again, this is just a one-off in regards to the Evolution return. It's good to see Ric Flair on TV. But yeah, ultimately seeds were possibly planted for a Batista Triple H match, which has been like the long desired, final program that Batista wants before retiring ultimately from WWE, in which, for what he's done, in the business, I don't see why not, dude. Like, why not give that to him? Which ultimately, him teasing Triple H about never beating him is, that's, you beat The Undertaker now, but you never beat fucking Batista Triple H. So I think could be very fun to see at WrestleMania. Definitely not like a main event match or anything, but I could get into a Triple H Batista feud going into WrestleMania 35 this next year from New York City. So there we go, guys. We had a World Cup qualifier, Rusev taking on The Miz, which we saw The Miz kind of get at least save face from his loss in Australia by defeating Rusev in a very quick fashion. One would lead me to believe that Evolution spot went over by some time, so therefore they have to get through some shit pretty quickly, which that's what we saw with the Rusev Miz World Cup qualifier, which the Miz being the next representative from Smackdown being added to the World Cup. So I have no problem. We got Seth Rollins earlier in Monday Night Raw. We got Dolph Ziggler, and now we got The Miz, which, in terms of the last, I would say, 10 years of professional wrestling, and, definitely The Miz and Dolph Ziggler have been consistent stays within the WWE. So it's good to see that they're making the World Cup qualifying. They've successfully qualified for the WWE World Cup. I guess that's what I'm trying to say there, guys. So then we saw the Cutting Edge. This is definitely possibly maybe my favorite spot of SmackDown this past week. We saw Becky Lynch just fucking doing her thing as the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion. We saw Edge basically pleading with Becky Lynch, trying to basically tell her that don't go down the road that I've gone down. I have no friends. I am a lonely, lonely man. Learn from my mistakes, Becky. Do not go down. Do not go down this road. And which Becky Lynch just basically shat all over Edge, told him not to get out of her ring and don't hurt his neck getting out, And I thought that was just so fucking great, dude. I loved it. I loved every fucking minute of it. And then Charlotte comes out, and then ultimately her and Becky Lynch brawl, and the producers are rushed to the ring to pull them apart. This was just, again, I don't think this is going to main event the Evolution pay-per-view. I think you're going to see the Nikki Bella fucking Ronda Rousey match. That's going to be your main event. But damn, if this could go on last, I would be a happy person, dude. I'm such a fan of Becky Lynch, and I love seeing Charlotte get her ass kicked. So ultimately, I hope Becky Lynch carries the title through Evolution, but we'll have to wait and see till not this Sunday, but the following Sunday after, guys. We saw a tag team championship match as the New Day took on The Bar. This ultimately ended up with new tag team champions. The Bar defeated the New Day to win the tag team titles with a little bit of help from the Big Show. Which, again, Big Show being like the most overturned professional wrestler in the history of professional wrestling. This man has turned heel to face hundreds of times at this point, thousands maybe, if you believe in folklore. going back to his days as Rico the Concito on his independent tours, which never took place. And I just made that up. Hey, we're late into the podcast, guys. Actually, we're like halfway through this shit. You're gonna look down and you're like, shit, we still got 30 fucking minutes of this shit. Kevin Porter's talking about himself. He's losing his fucking mind. Holy shit, guys. So, oh man. So yeah, the big show comes out, teases, helping Kofi Kingston, then ultimately chokeslams Kofi Kingston through the fucking announcer's table. We had Booker T and Jerry Lawler on commentary, which I don't think they need to do that anymore, guys. I don't think we need to see Booker T or Jerry Lawler on commentary in 2018 going in 2019 on WWE TV. But I guess they're Hall of Famers, so you gotta show them respect and you gotta try them out for the 1000th Smackdown. So both having history on Smackdown. I wanted to see a King Booker segment. Obviously, I mean that was we got that a couple months ago or whatever. With Booker T coming out with the New Day, which again that was awesome as shit, dude. But it would have been cool to see something of that nature. We saw the final, the main event of SmackDown 1000, the returning Rey Mysterio fighting Shinsuke Nakamura in the final spot for the World Cup tournament here, guys. This is a match they announced last week that, Rey Mysterio was coming back. I mean, it was kind of a pretty not very well kept secret, obviously, that he was coming back to the WWE on, I guess, what is considered a full-time basis or whatever. But this is, what you would call a dream match here, I would say, with Shinsuke and Mysterio. And again, what they did with Daniel Bryan, when Daniel Bryan, coming off WrestleMania, with Daniel Bryan taking on AJ Styles on that SmackDown main event. I don't know how if we're supposed to remember that or not, but, going back to that, you kind of knew it wasn't going to be like a pay-per-view quality match. This was just going to be a TV main event, which, some weeks, dude, like, given last week, we saw that Shield Dog of War fucking main event. That was a great fucking main event. And this was a fun match too. It's definitely fun to see Rey Mysterio back in a WWE ring after, so many, I mean, he's obviously been back, but at the same time now coming back on to SmackDown, he's going to be feuding on the SmackDown roster. Thus, Rey Mysterio defeated Nakamura, and thus qualifying for the World Cup. So your World Cup tournament stands now, including John Cena, Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins, and Rey Mysterio. I mean, I'm pretty fucking pumped for this fucking tournament, dude. It's going to be really fucking cool, dude. So I'm, take away all the controversy from Crown Jewel. I'm looking forward to this one night tournament, So, and then ultimately we saw The Undertaker return to SmackDown 1000 to basically give the same exact fucking promo that we saw on Monday Night Raw the night before, albeit this time in a live version minus Kane. Telling Triple H to rest in peace, So, yeah, again, here we are going to Crown Jewel. I mean, that's, kind of your bigger selling points of that specific event there. So, that was SmackDown and Raw this week, guys. I thought both shows were, for the most part, I remember when I watched them, I was pretty entertained. And SmackDown 1000, I thought was a good show. And Monday Night Raw, again, seeing that hour and a half condensed Hulu version was a fun episode as well. So we move on, guys, to Ring of Honor this week, which, guys, I don't know if we've been following, but seeing this week that we're finally moving on to the results from Final Battle, with fucking them emanating from Las Vegas here, which was a fun week of television, I would say, actually, just from a pure standpoint of not even getting into the continuity and all that bullshit. Which, again, it's not necessarily their continuity, it's just the several weeks behind in regards to their tapings, because they just taped this last weekend. I didn't read the spoilers or anything, but it's like I saw like some headlines and I'm just like, motherfuckers, like, like I get it. Like they just taped NXT this last week too, or this week, I guess, and some stuff. I mean, unfortunately, in today's day and age, you're gonna get spoiled here and there and shit. So this week on TV, though, we saw the Kingdom finally addressing the actions that took place about 3 weeks ago when they beat the shit out of Jay Lethal And Will's after the match with Jay Lethal and Will Ospreay, they beat the shit out of Jay Lethal, and the Kingdom unveiled that Matt Tavern had a new haircut and that he had his own title belt, which apparently they're saying he's the uncrowned champion based on pinning Dalton Castle back at some event here several months ago when Dalton Castle still had the Ring of Honor championship. He basically had him down for like a 10 count or some shit, and thus here we are. Matt Taven is declaring himself the uncrowned Ring of Honor champion. No sign of Jay Lethal this week, which is good. I think we're going to be hopefully seeing something next week. Jay Lethal confronting Matt Taven. And again, I'm glad we're finally addressing this. Again, I wish I would have seen this immediately after the pay-per-view. But, again, here we are a couple weeks later. All right, cool. I'm glad we're finally addressing this because I am a fan of the Kingdom, from seen very little of them. And, again, being just getting acquainted with the weekly viewing of a Ring of Honor. There are definitely standouts in regards to Ring of Honor, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of them on my TV. So we see that also it's announced that next week Jeff Cobb will be officially challenging Punishment Martinez for the Ring of Honor Television Championship, which I don't know if anybody saw this week's announcements, the new NXT signings, but one Punishment Martinez was accounted for and present in his class photo with the bro Matt Riddle and Chelsea Green and a couple other people of prominent names. So, good luck to them. But I suppose the writing's on the wall in regards to next week's television championship defense there. So we saw Kenny King taking on Chase Owens. With Chase Owens, he is a member of the Bullet Club out of New Japan Pro Wrestling. He doesn't really wrestle stateside too often. He's prominently featured over in Europe and along also in Japan. So not really ever seeing him. This is a kind of pretty basic fucking match again here. Nothing this week really is blowing you away wrestling-wise regarding the weekly television. It's a serviceable match here, I guess. Kenny King, again, we're building him up for, I don't know, again, if he's going to get a world title shot down the line or something. I guess maybe not. I don't know. But they're still building him up. He's got 3 wins now over Bullet Club members, the other 2 being Hangman Page and fucking Marty Scurll. So it's good to see that they're building Kenny King up, and I don't know exactly where they're going with it, but we're going to see eventually where they're going with Kenny King. We saw Shane Taylor taking on Flip Gordon, which ultimately didn't happen as Flip Gordon called out Bully Ray to address, again, Death Before Dishonor final battle. I'm bad with it. I'm learning these pay-per-view names. Okay, fucking September is Death Before Dishonor, guys. So basically, yeah, fucking Flip Gordon calls out fucking Bully Ray. Silas Young comes out of nowhere, ball fucking shots Flip Gordon. They just beat the shit out of Flip Gordon. No sign of fucking Colt Cabana or anything. Ian Riccaboni definitely stayed in his fucking place this time around. I had nothing wrong with this. I like seeing Bully Ray on Ring of Honor television, and I like Flip Gordon. I like Silas Young. And this, Shane Taylor got involved, so I don't know if we're going to see, because again, they have the 6-man tag, titles, and it seems like Shane Taylor is somewhat of a project within Ring of Honor that they're going to possibly put him with, Silas Young and fucking Bully Ray, which again, I'm not necessarily against, seeing that. I think that could be fun. So hopefully we'll see a continuation of this feud going down the road here, which I think we will. I think we'll keep seeing it. We'll see in our main event for Ring of Honor television this week, we did see the Young Bucks taking on LIJ, which is a Los Ingobernables de Japón. Dude, I make myself look like a fucking idiot every fucking time we fucking record this shit. Taking on Best Friends, Trent Beretta and Chucky T, and SoCal Uncensored, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Zern in a 4 corners tag match, which we have established, the 4 corners tag matches in Ring of Honor consist of, tagging in and out 2 wrestlers in at a time. This was definitely a fun match. I definitely thought they were pretty creative in the melee, within having, all these people, with all 12 people within this fucking match here. It was really fun. Ultimately, your Young Bucks get the win. The Ian Riccaboni's basically hyping up the winner of this is going to become number one contenders for the tag team championships, which are held by the Briscoes. Which it was also announced that next week the Briscoes will be taking on Coast to Coast, which is that tag team that we saw defeat the Kingdom last week on Ring of Honor television. So again, not necessarily being a big fan of Coast to Coast. We saw a promo with them earlier within the evening as well. I don't know. They're going to get their asses kicked by the Briscoes. And again, I guess we're going to see the Young Bucks taking on the Briscoes, which it seems like that match is taking place. It's kind of like we talk about Dogs of War and fucking, the Shield and all that shit, dude. I'm pretty sure the Young Bucks have taken on the Briscoes more times than not in Ring of Honor, man. But nonetheless, though, I mean, they always put on a good match. So, I mean, who am I to fucking complain about something like that? Seeing the Young Bucks and fucking the Briscoes, even in 2018, dude, no complaints there, guys. So that was Ring of Honor. I don't know exactly where we're going in regards to pay-per-view wise and when the next pay-per-view is. I haven't really looked too much into it, but maybe we'll talk more about it next week. But we'll definitely check out Ring of Honor next week, guys. To kind of finalize the week that was professional wrestling here, we saw fucking NXT being built as a double main event, this week here, as we saw, the NXT Tag Team Championships was to be defended with the War Raiders, taking on the Undisputed Era, and then ultimately also Nikki Cross taking on Bianca Belair. Ultimately, I was a little surprised to see that this week we kicked off with the NXT Tag Team Championships on the line. And dude, just a fucking great match, man. War Raiders versus Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, dude. NXT week in, week out proves to me to be the best show that I watch on TV. Fucking week in, week out, dude. Their matches, it's basically, I feel like NXT is what Ring of Honor should be, in terms of being a weekly one hour wrestling show. Like, they just do it right, dude. Triple H does it fucking right down there. This is how a wrestling show should be. And it's a fucking treat for me to watch this every single fucking week here. So ultimately we saw fucking Bobby Fish fucking return to the ring after, what was just such a great fucking match. If there's one match to go out of your way this week to watch on WWE, just wrestling in general, I would definitely highly recommend this being that match, okay? So the War Raiders defeated Undisputed Era by disqualification after the returning Bobby Fish just destroyed War Raiders, man. Just beat the shit out of them. So Undisputed Era is back to full fucking power. I think we're definitely going to see a rematch down the road here. Hopefully as, Red Dragon fucking taking on the fucking War Raiders. I mean, I think, now with Roderick Strong, I think they can definitely do the whole, fucking Freebird fucking rule. Obviously New Day does it, so why can't the fucking Undisputed Era do that as well with the four of them? Or at least the three of them. So that was, dude, definitely my segment of the week was that fucking tag team match. Dude, it was so much fun, even with the disqualification ending. With it being pre-recorded, no title was going to change hands on TV this week. So then we also saw in action Britt Baker taking on Shayna Baszler. This match didn't take last that fucking long here, as Britt Baker fucking ultimately fucking is not allowed to continue since due to Shayna Baszler's just wicked fucking. It's just whatever she does with those fucking transitions in between those fucking holds, man. It's gross looking, and I love it. I fucking love it. I'm a fan of Shayna Baszler's fucking unique offense here. I kind of felt bad for Britt Baker because she basically it made it seem like she broke her fucking hand or some shit, and she was just crying, dude. And she's legit crying. I was like, fuck, I feel bad for her. So, we've seen Britt Baker on TV before. I enjoy her. So ultimately we're moving towards Shayna Baszler taking, challenging again for the NXT Women's Championship, here in the next week or so at Evolution. So that's ultimately what we were just seeing that match building up for. We also saw Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch taking on T.N.W.P and Rocky, which apparently T.N.W.P is the very first signee out of China for WWE there. So that's kind of cool seeing that him and Rocky. I know I totally enjoyed the entrance of those guys. Like, you know, those guys are definitely new to NXT television. I really hope they flourish within the tag team scene, because I don't know. I thought like Orient Express or some shit, you know, back from like being a kid and stuff. This was like this match here to me was just like a real throwback match in a sense, in regards to the characters, and just like, I don't know. I really enjoyed this segment. I thought this was a very fun, like, albeit a very quick squash match, with Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch ultimately picking up the win over Bing and Rocky. It was a fun little segment, dude. I continue to seeing Lorcan and Burch, and it'd be awesome as shit to see them again challenge for the NXT Tag Team Championships at some point. So that was really fun. In our main event of NXT, guys, we saw Nikki Cross taking on Bianca Belair. This was just as fun of a match as what they'd done a couple weeks ago. This is kind of like this was like the first week that we started covering NXT. I remember that was the main event, was Bianca Belair versus Nikki Cross. So I was definitely looking forward to this match again, guys. I thought it delivered. And again, we're going to see that trilogy, guys, because this one ultimately ended in a no contest, as fucking we saw the return of fucking Aleister Black, guys. Aleister Black is back from injury, and he wanted to know Nikki's motherfucking secret. So in quite the fucking segment, I gotta say, he called Nikki Cross over to her. Nikki Cross got on all fours and just fucking slowly took her time and crawled up to Aleister and whispered in his ear. And you just saw the look on Aleister Black's face as he just erupted in motherfucking anger. You're just like, oh shit. And that's how we went off the air on NXT this week. So I'm totally looking forward to next week, which they just taped this week. So again, I haven't read spoilers or anything, so I'm looking forward to NXT next week. I would say that's probably the one thing I'm looking forward to the most, is next week in regards to that fucking Aleister Black fucking spot, dude. It's gonna be fun, guys. So I don't know, guys. This was the week that was professional wrestling. This was the Totally Necessary Wrestling podcast. If you're still fucking listening, thank you, because like, man, this was a hard one to get through, guys. I lack of sleep lately, guys. I just need to sleep a little bit more, and watch a little bit more wrestling. I don't know, enjoy it. I just definitely need to enjoy it. It was fun week in professional wrestling, guys. I enjoyed watching it this week. As we get towards the Evolution pay-per-view, next week we'll go over the card. We'll go over the card for Crown Jewel as well. But until then, you guys stay safe. And yeah. Nikki's secret is out. And guess what, guys? Guess what? We're gonna find out next week. Oh shit! I'm fucking excited now. I'm just totally stoked on that. I don't know. That sativa is really fucking rocking. So guys, I'm going to bed. You guys take care, and until next time.